think there are a lot of people in the academic world and the research world who are neurodivergent. They don't always disclose it. Sometimes they're not aware of it themselves. And I think that if we are able to disclose those things, if those people can be representative of that community, it can be really helpful for students and trainees who are neurodivergent themselves to feel more comfortable working with a supervisor or a teacher who understands what they've been through, understands the way they work, the types of help they might need, the types of support they might need.
We need people like us. We have so much ideas, so much proposition. We think differently. It's like neurodiversity and biodiversity. We all know that in biodiversity, we need so much of plants, trees to have a bigger and bigger, nicer space with the interaction of the different plants of each other.
I think the more that neurodivergent individuals are included in research, the more different ways of thinking we're including, not only from the idea of designing the methodology, coming up with different ideas, but also informing us how to do better with even the methods that we're already using. So, for example, if I'm going to be measuring certain things like cognition or language ability or things like that, sometimes the standard tests that we have are not great for neurodivergent individuals. Sometimes the things that we use traditionally to measure things are not really geared well to that population. So there's been more recently this idea of research into this thing called the double empathy problem. So this is something that's become interesting lately, that there was always this thought by clinicians in the medical field or what have you, that, people on the spectrum, for example, lack empathy, right? And have a hard time showing empathy to other people. But now we kind of know from the research that actually when people who are neurodivergent are speaking to each other, they don't have any issues with empathy and showing empathy to each other, understanding each other's perspectives, understanding what the other person is saying. So it's not just that they're not understanding us, it's that we're not understanding them. I think as academics, as researchers, we have this narrow view that everything needs to be done in this particular way or else it's not good research, right? Why can't we express ourselves through poems, through dance, through song? I think that trying to include those different kinds of methodologies is, important for researchers to be able to get at the questions that they want answered a little bit more profoundly than we have in the past.
Yeah, totally. For the matter, like I'm right in it. I'm finishing my master's degree. And it's funny because I talk about the experience of dyslexic person, but myself, I'm also a dyslexic. There's so many norms in the academic field and the scientific field about how to write the correct way. And if I didn't have the support that I have, maybe I would give up and don't finish my thesis.
More recently, we're starting to maybe recognize the fact that there are different kinds of abilities that people can bring to the table even when we don't necessarily expect it. So I'm happy to see these examples that you see in the media of a person who is an autistic, non-speaking person who is the valedictorian for their class, and they're able to give their speech in a different way. I think that the way that we can enhance innovation and research and discovery is to just give those tools, give that space, give people the chance to show us what they can do, and allow different ways of doing things to, drive what we're discovering. What I hope is that these kinds of practices, inclusive practices, just become the norm.
I think we need to see it to start from the beginning, to have access and to help people access those level of degree and research, to have more voices and more experience about the person who is concerned.
So my hope is to really just have those kinds of practices being more inclusive across the board so that, right from the start, we're designing things in a way that can include different voices.